Hi everyone, this is Laure Jérémy and this is UniToShine podcast. Today we have Patrik. Hi Patrik, welcome.
Hi, Laura. Good to see you. And thank you for the invitation to be with you. Yeah.
Of course. So I wanted to invite Patrik today, first of all, because I've been working with him, met him a year ago at one of his events with Richard Barrett Value Center, and it was just amazing experience. And I thought that it would be really, really useful for all of you to hear what, in just a few minutes or less than an hour, what Patrik has to share around values. And I wanted him to come here to share with us how value can be important for us to understand and to maybe unleash our profession, what really can make us happy and bring something to our lives and maybe something to other people's lives. So before just we jump into the subject, Patrik, can you tell us a bit more about you and who you are, what you do?
Who I am and what I do. So, how many hours do we have?
A little bit less than an hour.
So, I call myself a facilitator of transformation, and that's I can't find a better description. So, what I do is, and we have had the beautiful experience last year in Woking with our group, where you were also part of. It's creating and holding a space where people feel safe, where people feel at home, and where I do believe that we can hold a space where they can go to almost to the edge of personal transformation. What does it take to look at your life, and what does it take to allow yourself to make a shift that opens up new possibilities? And that's what I do with values. That's what I do with the tool of CTT. That's what I do with coaching. That's what I do with my connection, collaboration, and contribution with people. And if people ask me who I am, the easiest way to describe it in 3 words is presence, silence, and questions. And that's it. And with these 3 words, I try to be with you, and I try to be with the people with who I work. Presence, silence, and questions.
I work with you, and I can say that is a perfect definition of who you are. So yes, I love these few words just to describe yourself.
Thank you.
So getting now into the subject. So what I wanted for everyone to understand is what value mean.
So the work I do is related to values and consciousness. And it's not about values, it's in the first place about consciousness. What we need in the world is people who become aware of who they are, where they are, and what is helping them to move forward, and what is holding them back in life. And what is holding people back in life is fear. And you see that we live in a world with a lot of fear. People are afraid of so much. And fear is holding you back. Fear is taking over control of your life if you can't master it. What we do with the work is trying to find a way to become aware of the fear and to find a way to master it and to allow a shift to happen from fear to trust. That's what the world needs, and that's what people need in their life, from fear to trust.
Mm-hmm.
And that's consciousness, knowing that there are other ways of living your life. You don't need to give away your power to all the fears in your life. You don't want them to control your life. So where do values come in? I worked for more than 10 years with Richard Barrett's tool based on 7 levels of consciousness. And what he created is a tool where we can measure people, cultures of organizations, by mapping values on levels of consciousness. That's what we do. And so what are values? And that was then your question. Values is what really matters to you, what you value most in life. And he created this model based on the hierarchy of needs of Maslow. What we value is to get our needs met. And that's what motivates all people in life. We want to get our needs met in life. That makes us feel good. Now, our needs are based on what we believe that we need. And that's where the beliefs come in. And beliefs can be based on trust and can be based on fear. And the fear-based limiting beliefs, these are represented by the values that we call potentially limiting, because we see they limit our possibilities and they create dysfunctional behaviors in patterns of our life. So we have positive values and potentially limiting values. Positive values: care, friendship, open communication, health, achievement, performance, all these values. Potentially limiting values, they come from a place of fear. You have control, caution, domination, manipulation, blame, status, arrogance. And these potentially limiting values create dysfunctional behavior, bring us in a pattern that is holding us back from moving forward. And so the whole transformation work is, how do we shift from fear to trust? How do we work with these fear-based beliefs that we can let them go? These fear-based beliefs come from our childhood, from how we grew up in life as a child, and they're hardwired in our brains, in our system, and we have them in our mind. So the biggest addiction that we see in the world is that people are addicted to what they believe, to the mindset. And that's so hard to let go of that. And the three biggest fears that we have in life and that we see in the world are the fear of not having enough, the fear of not being loved enough, and the fear of not being good enough. And these three fears are limiting people. And the not enough club in the world is so big, and there are, most of the people belong to the club. There are different levels of membership. I come from a place that I was a very high executive member of the not enough club, of not being loved enough and not being good enough. And then you do things to be loved and you do things to prove to others how good you are. And that's so ridiculous. But people do it because that's what they need. And that's what they make themselves believe that they need it. And that's the reason of all suffering, because you become dependent on other people. You feel victim if people don't give you what you need. Yeah. So I see, and I come from that place. So like the belief, I need you to love me, because when I was a child, I didn't get the love that I needed or that I thought I needed. And so now I'm looking for people who give me the love that I'm yearning for, because I believe that I need that. And if people don't love me, then I feel bad because nobody loves me. And that makes you so vulnerable. That makes you so miserable, because life is good as long as people love you. And when you do not feel loved anymore, then you feel bad. And so coming to a place where you don't depend on other people, but where you feel like it's fine to be loved by other people, but I don't need a love because I know there is a love inside myself. Mm-hmm. And that's from where I live, and I know how loved and lovable I am. And from that place, meeting other people and sharing love and connection is beautiful, but you don't depend on them. And you don't feel victim if you don't receive love from them the way you expected it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I think I'm going just to bring, I mean, for me it does, because, I've been working with you, so I know what you're talking about. But I think I would just maybe bring an example, my example, so hopefully listeners can maybe understand and put into a context. So for me, I would say, as an example, I would take not having enough. And when I was younger, I wasn't good at school. I hated school, and it started when I was really young, like maybe primary school. I was saying that I was sick, not just having an excuse not to go to school, and never like going to school. Wasn't good at school. But I'm a single child, but my cousins were good at school, and always my family was looking up at them and comparing me and kind of telling me every time I was doing something, it was like really amazing what I was doing, even though it wasn't. But because they were comparing me to them, it was for them. And I was into this place. And the thing is, I ended up doing, for someone who hated school, I ended up doing long studies, degrees after degrees. I think I realize this now. At the moment, I didn't realize that, but I think I just wanted to prove to others that I could do it. I have these degrees that is not everyone who get, and pay for all of my degrees, doing all of my degrees in part time. And after, when I get my first job, it was never enough. The stature of the job wasn't enough, the salary wasn't enough, and I was looking and running after promotion and promotion and promotion to get really to a point where maybe for me it was enough, and maybe for people that maybe before were saying, oh Lord, she might not do XYZ, I could prove to them, and maybe to myself, I guess also to myself, that I could do it. So I guess this was my example of not having enough, and in a way maybe not being loved enough to show I was loved, but maybe in a way also translate that, showing them that I can do it, and from that receiving maybe more love. I don't know.
Wow, thank you for sharing. And beautiful how you said not enough is never enough, and it's never enough, and that is so exhausting.
It is. It is.
And
I mean, I
that's,
was suffering. I was just suffering.
of
I
course,
was only thinking about that. And every
yeah,
time I had a promotion, my husband was like, so it's enough now. You can stop. It wasn't. I needed to work for the next one already. I just had a promotion. I was already working for the
yeah,
next one.
yeah,
And it's exhausting. Exhausting.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So there's nothing wrong with promotion, but what we see, the two elements that we see when there's a very strong attachment, and when there is an excessive focus, then we see this is something that is playing as a compensation of unmet needs. And if you have the unmet need of being good enough, then you do everything to prove and show others, and including yourself, how good you are. And that's never good enough. And that's endless. And that's how people get burned out, because it's endless. It's never good enough. So in the model where we look at the 7 levels, we also look at ego's soul dynamic, and that's what the ego is telling you. Your ego is based on fear and is telling you it's never good enough. Keep on going, keep on going. And that's what you need to survive. And it's so exhausting.
It is.
And it's not only exhausting, but it keeps you limited in your struggle to survive. And that's what your life becomes then, a struggle to survive. And it's when we can shift from fear to trust that we can say, Laura, you are good as you are. There's nobody who has to doubt about it, because you know from inside yourself how good you are. That's where there comes a calm, peaceful feeling of it's okay. And when you trust that it's okay, that opens not just a door, a complete new dimension in your life. And that's where the soul comes in. Or that's where purpose comes in, where meaning comes in. And you talk about values and purpose. Well, the values are a beautiful way to measure where you are, but it's the fear that is holding you back and the trust that is going to help you to align with your soul purpose, with what's the real meaning in my life? Why am I here on earth? But if there is only fear in your system about not having enough, not being loved enough, not being good enough, I do literally this because I feel the contracted energy. With trust, it's like, oh, it's beautiful, much more relaxed. And then you see there is that other dimension in life that wants to give meaning and purpose in life, reaching your potential and working with others to make a difference in the world. But you can only do that if you come from that place of trust. And the trust is, I have enough, I am enough, and there's enough for all. Can you imagine that the whole world would live from these three beliefs? I have enough, I am enough, there's enough for all. The world would be such a different place, and life of people would be so different. And there wouldn't be the problems that we see now in the world, but it's all the fear and all the struggle to survive that is keeping people small and undermining their potential.
I mean, for me, like working with you, been really revelation. I mean, all last year I've been working on things, so stuff like that, and really helped me to let it go, maybe this fear and not having enough, to move really to something that was important for me, really inside me. And it's where I understand my value and the importance of them. So if you can maybe clarify this for our listeners, so hopefully after this episode they can understand this and maybe work on their value and how to identify them.
That's a good question. The first thing I invite people to do always is looking at, and you can give the details of the Barrett Value Center website, the valuecenter.com, the personal values assessment. People are invited to look at what are the 10 values that represent who you are now in life. And then you get a beautiful, not only list of 10 words that you choose, but also mapped on the levels of consciousness. And then you see where your energy focus is. But then the question that we ask is, what are your 3 core values? And tell me, why is each of these values so important? Becoming aware of your values and where they come from and why they are so important, that's great. And share this with others. My number 1 value is presence. And the reason why, as a child, I never felt at home in my family of origin, and my father was always absent, or I experienced him as absent. And so as a child, looking for a home that I couldn't find, as a father, I was almost obsessed by creating a home for my children. And now as a facilitator, I want to be present and I want to make people feel at home. And so I see where that comes from. I see that, okay, that's where it comes from. And so becoming aware of where are my values coming from and how are they serving me? That's the key that I want to bring to people, and to see where am I with trust and fear in my life. So that's one thing. The other thing is, if there is a belief that is really holding you back, the belief. So I had a conversation with a client, and there was a deep yearning for her to be seen in the work that she was doing, to be seen. And at the same time, she did everything to not be seen. So there was a belief, I'm not good enough. And I don't want people to see me how I do it. And at the same time, she wanted to be seen and to show how good she is. It was an impossible struggle in her life. What we do then is we look at, okay, not only where is this belief coming from, but what can we do with this? And the work I use for working with these beliefs is the work of Byron Katie. The work of Byron Katie is questioning your beliefs. And questioning not only your beliefs, but seeing what are alternatives that are also serving you and to see what works better. It's a beautiful way to clear your mind. And it happens to fit perfectly in my 3 words: presence, silence, questions, because it's exactly what you do, reflecting on yourself and questioning your mind, questioning your mindset. To make it clear, what makes us suffering is not what happens in the world, is not what happens in our life. What makes us suffering is the stories that we tell ourselves about what happens in life, and the beliefs that we make and that we hold on because we believe it and we are so attached to it. And that's the suffering. And the whole point is, how do we make ourselves free from these beliefs so that we are just free to live the life we are born for? We are born for a reason. That's meaning, purpose in life. And we want to be free to live our life. And free means free from the beliefs that are limiting us. And that's where abundance comes in. It is when you can live from a place of enough at the ego levels that the soul comes in, and that's where you can share abundance with people.
Mm. And so what I wanted to know also is the importance of aligning this value with your profession. Because for me, for example, I was working for many, many years looking after this not having enough. And I think I switch on different level because of different reasons. And after, my job wasn't aligned anymore with my value, and my frustration were not anymore coming from not having enough, but not doing a job that was aligned with my value. And so now I would like for you to explain a little bit more, how is it important to align these two, and how people who today maybe do something maybe for the reason not having enough or not being enough or not being loved enough can hopefully try to understand better their value, and after hopefully think about which profession for them would be best and aligned with their value.
I love your question, and I love how often you use the word alignment. Inner leadership alignment, that's how I call it now. That's the key for me to everything. That you get aligned inside yourself and that you really find your purpose. If you relate it to profession, then I keep my values in mind, I keep my beliefs in mind, but I love the concept of ikigai. And ikigai, are you familiar with ikigai, the Japanese concept of purpose? There are 4 questions that you need to ask yourself. And there is, if you see the 4 questions as 4 circles, where the 4 circles meet in the middle, there is your place. And that's your sweet spot. And it's related to your profession. The first question is, what do I love? What do I love so much? But the second question is, where am I good at? It's possible that you love something, but you're not so good at it. Then it's important to be as good as you can. And it's easy to become better and better in something that you love because you like it and you do it. But the combination of these two is really important. What you love and what you're really good at. The third question is, what is it that the world needs? What is the need of the world? And so if you love something and you're really good at it and the world needs it, then you're really good. But there's a fourth question. What can I be paid for? Because you need to make it your living.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So exploring with the ikigai, what do I love most? What am I really good at? What is it that the world needs? And what can I be paid for? There is your sweet spot. Now, I know a lot of people who know exactly what they want to do and they don't do it. They don't do it because they don't have the courage to let go. And that's where fear and trust comes in. If you don't have enough trust that you can follow your heart, the courage to take a risk, then you stay in a pattern that is not fulfilling you, but it gives you a certainty, it gives you financial stability, it gives you an income, and people stay in a work that they don't like because of these reasons, because they feel like, I can't let it go, I have my family, I need to pay the bills, I need the money. And that's where people get depressed. Depression means that the soul is yearning to self-express, to connect and to contribute. But the ego in our system is so afraid to let go what we have that there is no space for the soul to come in our life. And that's a shame. And on the other side, you see people doing what we call crazy things. They leave a beautiful job, they let go a salary, and people say, how is it possible that you let that go? But these people, when you talk to them, you see the light in their eyes, you see them shining when they talk about what they really want to do in the world. And then they don't care about how much income is that going to generate, maybe less. And of course, we live in a world where you need money. That's part of level one, the survival needs, the financial needs. But it's not about how much money you earn. It's about the fulfillment that you feel when you do what you do. And so people who have the courage to let go their big salary and to go for less, but for a fulfilling job, that's beautiful. And they have that sweet spot between what they love, what they're good at, what the world needs, and what they can be paid for.
Mm.
And some people are in a financial situation that they say, I don't need to be paid anymore. I can do it as a volunteer, which is also beautiful. At the same time, volunteering is nice, but I do believe that there has to be an energy exchange.
Mm-hmm.
If people see the volunteering as, I received so much in my life from the world and I want to give back, that's beautiful, because then is that energy exchange. But being paid for the work you do is also fair. Money is part of the transformation process. We very often people talk about emotional freedom, and that's an important element. Financial freedom is as important as the emotional freedom in the process of transformation. And financial freedom means that there is that fair energy exchange and that you are paid in such a way that you feel free to live the life you want to live and that the money is not limiting you to make a difference in the world.
Mm.
I was in Dubai and I had on a course somebody from Saudi Arabia, and it was beautiful how he explained the money thing. He said, more money is more resources. So that's good. But we keep the money in our hands and not in our heart. Because when you keep the money in your heart, you become attached and you start liking and loving money. And that's not the purpose. You keep it in your hands to keep it flowing and to exchange it. And you give it and you receive it, but it's part of, it allows you to do the work that you do. I'm now working in America with Future Capital, and Future Capital is a movement to build conscious economies so that we can create a world for everybody, where everybody can thrive. And you see there that people with money, they want to invest so that they get more money, but conscious people can make conscious investments, and they can, with the money, make a difference in the world and make the world a better place. So the ultimate goal with this work that we do, with this values work, is make people free to live their purpose. And the freedom is emotional freedom and financial freedom. And physical freedom with the body, in the sense that you are as healthy as possible to do the work as good as you can. Because if you undermine your health and you don't take care of your body, then you're not in the best place to serve and to do what you want to do. But I can't teach you anything about health and body because you are the expert in this field. So let's not go there.
I mean, I've been in this position, been frustrated for so many years, and I also experienced a lot of depression. So I totally understand when you're talking about having this feeling when you are doing something that is not aligned with your value, with really truly who you are. And now that I'm away from all of that, and again, I wasn't doing this for the right reason. And I don't have all of this feeling anymore. I'm feeling light. I don't have this feeling of depression, of breakdown, or anything like that. And as you said, money is important, but for me, it's not as important as it used to be. I need money to pay my bills, eat, and also now I'm looking to earn money to just build my business and grow this business and hopefully reach more people. But again, looking money as you said, just an energy and just to make use of it.
Beautiful.
And Patrik, so just if someone wants more information about what you do, how they can reach you, if you want to tell us a bit more about maybe where you work, Value Center.
So the Barrett Value Center website is www.valuecenter.com. And there you find all the work that we do with values and consciousness and how to use the tool to measure the culture. This work is founded by Richard Barrett, and Richard Barrett has now his own website, the Barrett Academy for the Advancement of Human Values. You can easily Google it and find it. And that's where you see his latest work, which is also amazing. His newest book is coming out, I think, early January, February, about the worldview dynamics and the well-being of nations. My personal website, evolutioninsideout.com, there you can find my personal work, but it's all related with others. I work in strategic partnerships with people, with organizations. And so my personal details to contact, you can find them on the website, or you, Laura, can share them on your website where you announce the podcast. So,
of course, yes, I will. So thanks again, Patrik, for joining today the UniToShine podcast. It was just amazing as always, every time we connect. I'm sure that it was really useful for all of the listeners. And again, if you have any question, I want to know more, I will put all of the detail on the page of the website, so you can reach at any time Patrik in the future. So thanks, Patrik, for joining, and hopefully see you again in the future and on the podcast. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Are you ready to turn your passion into a business? Is it finally time to make the difference you were born to make? Good, because we are here to help. Get started now at UniToShine.com.